In today's episode, you guys are going to learn how to be solution-focused thinkers. I have so much good information that I got from my mom that I feel like I'm realizing a lot of people just don't know. It really comes from this mindset of everything having a possible solution, everything being figure-outable, and that you actually possess the skills, talents, and the ability to be able to work out the plan that you need to make whatever challenge you're facing work out. And yes, I know that sometimes things feel like they're so out of control and that you don't have that power to be able to do what you want or to make the pivots that you think that you need to make in your life. But the truth is, there are many, many things that you have control over. And once you realize that you can be a solution-based thinker, that you can be a problem solver, this is going to be huge for you and maybe even your business. Let's go. Welcome back to My Mother's Daughter podcast, where we choose to focus on the controllables, jump off the hamster wheel of grief, and take steps to honoring our loved ones by living a life filled with gratitude, joy, and abundance. It's time to get stubborn about what we want and choose to lean into who we were meant to be, while drinking too much caffeine, owning way more workout pants than we'd like to admit, and dreading that nightly dinner talk almost as much as waking up early. You feel me, sister? I'm Angel McElhaney, motherless daughter, positive psychology junkie, and not so master juggler of my crazy crew, and I believe that you can heal and find happiness after loss. So grab that coffee, put down that to-do list, and let's get to work. One day at a time, together. Let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, I'm so excited for this episode. I feel like this is something that everyone is needing right now. Everyone needs to take a step back and employ just a few of these tips, and I know that it will leave them feeling more hopeful and more open to really seeing the blessings around them and just trying to find, I guess, a way that they can move forward and not dwell on the fact that, oh, we're in quarantine, oh, I'm uncertainty. Like, focusing on the uncertainty part isn't really serving what you actually want. And so I hope that this really helps you to not only validate any concerns that you have, that your problem does matter, but really just to shift your thinking that you can figure out how to make this work. You can find the good or the blessing in it, and that you can use this time to reset kind of your goals, or maybe even that time to breathe. Does anyone else feel like they kind of can breathe a little? I feel like I'm an 8-7. I'm not doing well with quarantine. I'm not going to lie. I need some people. But this is making me as a forced way of slowing down, almost listening and having clarity. Clarity has been so huge for me in the last week. I actually have decided to pivot my business so that I can be just more niche down to serve the people who are soul-tired moms who are just looking for that way to have that little piece of something for them. Maybe you feel lonely and you feel like you're lost that sense of community. Maybe you really felt driven to be home with your kids like I was. And I still obviously love being home with my kids. Maybe I'll change my tune after homeschooling for several weeks, but I felt so drawn to be home. And then there's this feeling always that I need to do something in the world, that I can't just be content. Like, why can't I just be content with focusing on just dinner or activity with the kids or going to the park? I love all those things, except for maybe the cooking dinner part. But I always felt like I needed more. And so what that looked like for me is being a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So I would have all of these different streams of income. And it wasn't always about the money, but it was that sense of purpose. It was actually the people I was doing the businesses with and helping people. And that just made me feel good. And so what I'm learning is that a lot of people are finding that they are home now, or maybe they want to get home, or they have these things that they're putting on that vision board, but they don't know how they can get that when they are at home or not bringing that extra income in. So what if we can work together to really show you what your talents are, your gifts, that self-discovery piece that I know everyone needs, especially, I mean, it's almost forced self-discovery right now. Like, we are forced to be in our little bubbles and not go out into the world. I actually even saw that in Italy, where everyone's kind of been inside so long, like the wildlife's coming back outside. Like the dolphins were in the like Venice channels and stuff, and it's like finding some little glimmer of beauty in a really bad situation that I think will help to make people realize that this can be something good in there. And so I'm definitely not trying to make light of anyone's tragedy that they are, or anything like that. I know that this is an awful thing that's happening with our economy, but I do believe that we are resilient, and I believe that we can come out with this okay. I guess, and it's almost to some people probably this naive thinking, but I think it's being a solution-based thinker. So here's some tips on being a solution-based thinker yourself, and I hope that this helps you to realize that you have talents and that you have gifts, and that maybe the world is like really needing what you have, and this can give you the time to kind of see what that looks like for you and give you the courage to kind of step out and do it. Because guess what the world really needs right now? It needs you to probably make your business. Like, it needs money out into the marketplace. It needs you to make money so that you can spend money. All those things on your vision board, they probably take money. I feel like we kind of sometimes have this negative thing with money, and it's really really unfortunate because it just amplifies who you already are. So if you are someone who is generous and going to do good and that is just a great person, that money is just going to amplify that. Like, think of all the good that you can put out in the world, or all of the impact. And especially as someone who has lost their mom, I feel like there's been times where I'm like, why is she gone? Why am I here? And there has to be a meaning. Like, there has to be a reason that you were meant to be on this earth today. And, finding that and bringing that out, finding out those gifts that you need to give out into the world is going to be huge. And so I hope you take a couple of these tips. I hope you take the time to really reflect and get clarity on what it is that you are really just, that lights you up and that you're really just feeling driven to do right now. And I know that for some people it might be just all over the place, like me, and just know that it can evolve. And so I feel like you just need to start. And so I hope that during this time you take some time to reflect, that you take time to get back to what you used to love to do, rather than trying to fit life in first and then fitting the things that you might end up having time to do later after. I think the secret to doing this, to doing something you love, is to honestly monetize your joy. And I don't want you to suck all of the life out of the joy, make every something that you feel like a hobby that you love feel like work. But there is such a flow state when you like what you're doing that the time doesn't really hold as much. I guess it just goes by faster. And so you're not even going to notice it. It's not even going to feel like work. And so I think if you can get into some sort of resourcefulness right now, and even just kind of just test it, that you will find that you could actually be doing a job for yourself, a business for yourself, where you feel that flow feeling, where you're getting paid to do something that you actually like, that you feel fueled up at the end of the day, and that actually will serve you better. It will be attuned to the gifts that you actually already have, and so it will feel natural. All right, so the first thing I need you to do is to check that mindset, which I know you've heard me say it a lot, but what I need you to do is really think about the problem in the way of being resourceful, and that you already have the skills and the talents and everything that you need to actually make a solution. So this will help you to make a workable plan to make it work. You're going to get resourceful. Won't always know where the breakthrough will happen or how the flow, or that's what I call whenever like money's coming in, that you're in the flow, that you are, that you're open to receive and all that. And so the thing is are you open to it? Are you in a negative place? If you haven't listened to the energy episode, make sure you go back and listen to that and see which level you're at, because I do think once you can get to those higher levels, you will be in such a better and more open place to receive all that's out there for you. Okay, so step 1 is mindset. Step 2 is get into the now. I want you to think about just today. I think we get overwhelmed with the whole scope of everything that needs to be done with everything, and then ultimately we end up doing nothing. And so what I'd rather you do is get into the now. And so definitely first step is find some clarity. I want you to do a sort of journaling clarity exercise, figure out what your strengths are, figure out who you want to be in the world and how you want to show up for others. It can't really all be about you, because that's too small. If this is something that's going to fuel you, that's going to really help you to get to where you want to be, it really needs to be about other people, not just about you. And honestly, that's what got me here. So as everywhere as I am, as just like, so, I don't know, ADD or ideas everywhere, I have had such clarity with this podcast, and I know that it is because I want to help soul-tired women, because my mom was one of them. And so I want you to find something that really speaks to who you want to help, who you want to serve, because that will help you to fuel you whenever it does get a little hard or boring, or, the fun's not in it. And I want you to really think about that and push forward for that, if that makes sense. Basically, make your why you want to do it a bit larger. They used to say, I saw somewhere, I think it's even a book, like your why should make you cry. And honestly, if I was to sit here and talk about how soul tired my mom was, and how, honestly, there was a time where I feel like when she passed away that she was so just unhappy that, not like definitely it would never be a blessing, but it was like, well, at least she's at peace. At least she is not having to deal with all of that. And I do touch on this a little bit in my first episode, but with the situation that she was with my dad and with his drug issue, addiction, and then he had just lost his job again and was on that Tuesday before she passed away, and just the stress. She was working from home, and she was attached to basically a computer in customer service, and the hours she worked, she didn't really even get to see daylight much, because she worked like 11 to 7, and so it was just kind of this weird shift, and she worked on Saturdays, and she just wasn't happy. And the thing is my mom was so talented, guys, and I just feel like if she would have maybe had someone who could help kind of pull out all of the gifts that she has, because there were a lot, that maybe she could have pivoted and maybe done something that would have fueled her up, and that would have been serving really just more people, which so many were helped by her, even in her life how it was, but I just know that could have been amplified. So I just ask you, like, is there something that you are doing in the world that could even be bigger by just stepping into what you're meant to do? And so that was a long version of me letting you know that to make it important. And so I don't want you to get bogged down on the how so much, how it's going to get done or how you're going to do it. But I want you to just think about today and get into the present moment and realize that your mindset plus probably 3 actions just for today, like 3 things, help some people and get just that next step. And you don't have to know it all. You just have to know that your heart's in the right place, and that you have the skills, the talents, and all of the resources you need to help someone or to move the needle a little just for today. So focusing upon those small positive changes that you can make for learning to become a solution-based thinker. And then what I also want you to do is think of 3 principles that really will work in your favor. And so for this, I want you to think of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so there's going to be some things that you're going to want to overhaul and kind of get distracted by. And instead, I want you to focus on the one thing that's going to serve the one promise that you're going to make to that one person that you want to help. And then anything that deviates from that, at least for this moment, don't go and try to rework that yet. So, and this, I am so distracted easily. That is my word of the year, is focus. So if you need that, you can borrow that word too. The second one I want you to do is, I want you to think about what is working and then do more of it. And so I think we make these big, long, like drawn out things, and we become a huge trier, which I love being a trier. And I think being a trier is really great in figuring out what you love to do. But I want you to kind of do the clarity work in the beginning so that you can kind of know where you want to go and the promise that you want to like run towards. And then I want you to know, find that thing that works and then just do more of just that one thing. And so that's where the clarity has really come with me, because I do know that helping moms make money from home or to monetize their joy is something that gets me super excited. I have so many talented people right now that are not putting out what their talents out into the world. And honestly, if I could just have even the ounce of influence to get that out in the world, I will feel good. And so you know who you are. And many of you I've told. And so, but when they're ready, I will be here to help them. So, and then the third principle that I want you to think about when it comes to solution-focused mindset is to, if it's not working, do something different. And so I used to use this example with the gym. And so I've had 4 kids, and they're all about 4 to 5 years apart. And so what will happen is I will get in shape. I don't know if you guys know my story, go back and listen to it, but basically I was a health coach, and I still help people get healthy. And then there'll be these times where I have a baby, I gain a ton of weight, I get super sad, so just kind of depressed, because I have these extreme emotions to where on one side, I am elated that I'm having this beautiful baby. And then on the other side, where this is something my mom's supposed to be here for. And the feelings of, her not being there or not having that support, or them not being able to meet her, that's just really hard. And so I gain a ton of weight, and I will do an episode on the intelligence centers for the Enneagram, because mine is the body or the gut. And so that results in, I end up emotionally eating and sugar and just all of that whenever I really do well if I put it into physical exertion. So I can pick the more positive one. I just need to get my habits in check, and then I usually do, and that's when I lose the weight and I end up helping a bunch of people, and it's great. So, but every 5 years, it seems like, which we're done now, but every 5 years I would gain weight, and then that process of shedding that weight, literally and figuratively, I would get back to who I am and help people. But there's always, through all that, it's never been the action that should change, is like canceling the membership. Like you hear people say like, oh, I should cancel my gym membership because I'm not going. It's not actually that action that should change. It should be the going part, right? Or the exercise. So I want you to get that kind of mindset when it comes to your problems. So if it's not working, switch what you're doing, but don't deviate from the goal. So you can still get there, just switch it. And so I really love that way of thinking, because what it is it's telling you no matter what, you're going to get there. You just might have to fail forward and be, kind of suck at something for a while and get better at it. But then ultimately you will be better. And I do think that there are some strategies you can do to get better. And I actually have an episode coming up, so stay tuned. It's going to be with someone that I met in a group, and I just love some of the things that she did just to put herself out there. And I think that's what you guys need to do, is just realize that there is solutions for all the problems that you have, or at least most of them, or at least coping with them. If it's, because, there's a whole range, I'm sure, but just becoming that solution-based thinker to know that you have everything that you need to get resourceful, to be a problem solver, and to really just make it work, make it figure outable. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you will continue to listen and be supportive and share the show as I do this pivot into helping people more so with their businesses or finding their gifts, or honestly just helping them to get more out of what they want to do in their life, like today. And so I think that tomorrow's not promised, so why not do more of what you actually love today? All right, I just wanted to leave you guys with just this, let you know that you are capable, you are strong, and you can do the hard things. Wishing you joy and abundance, Angel. Hey mama, if you found value in today's show or you learned something new, find me over on iTunes and leave me a review. I love to see what you're taking from the show, and I'd love to connect with you on social. Screenshot your review and share it over there, and let's connect. My handle over there is angel.mcilhaney. Check out the show notes for that crazy last name. All right, until next time.